be worth it, but it's Andrew Tate having a chat with some dude bro psychologist that he found. He basically found a psychologist to come on the show and tell Tate how awesome he is. So let's take a look at this.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how brutal do you need me to be? How crazy?
I want you to be whatever you want to do, man. Like, I mean, I'm going to ask you, and we'll just roll right into it. Like, we'll just talk and then roll right into it. You know, I'm gonna do what I do, which is, you know, I'm a psychotherapist, so I'm gonna try to like probe into your emotional life. I'm gonna ask you a little bit about your past and see what's going on.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe why don't we just start there? Just tell me a little bit about like your history, like growing up. What was it like for you growing up?
Yeah, very good question. But it's a very general question, isn't it? It's very broad.
It is a broad question. Well, what comes up for you? I mean, specifically for me, it would be your relationship to your parents.
Yeah, I had amazing parents. Yeah, I had an amazing father, an amazing mother. I think they both did their particular job very, very well. It was a clearly gendered household.
AKA, if his mom got out of line, his dad smacked her, which is probably why Tate thinks it's okay to hit women.
From a very young age, I was moved up a bunch of grades because I was...
Or hit your spouse in general, your partner, whatever.
Clearly a genius from the start. Played a lot of chess, moved to England, started fighting, kicked a bunch of ass, and here I am. That's basically it, really.
And they were like warm, loving, supportive parents?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. They were very strict. But I think that's the number one thing that's missing in the world today is discipline. It's it's when I'm sitting on Twitter, I have what I like to think of. I have the very flashy teenage boy's dream of a life. I have all the girls. I've got 9 supercars. I'm living.
If you end up being like a 12-year-old's idea of awesome, you have fucked up, my friend. 12-year-olds are idiots. Don't be what a 12-year-old would want. Be what an adult version of you would want.
Living in this big mansion. I'm in Romania. What is he doing in Romania? He's rolling around with all the police are giving him police escorts to drive his Lambo and all this crazy
Kirthan with 200 bits says, Hannah, these bits are from Hypnotic Dank. Thank you.
stuff. So I have what every guy dreams of having when he's like 18. And a lot of these guys, they come to me for advice and they absolutely lack discipline as individuals. And I think that's because they weren't disciplined as a child. Mm-hmm. That's my view. I've always been disciplined with myself because I've always lived a disciplined life. I lived in a disciplined household. Like there was no such thing as I don't want to. So even now, if
I did not see the McStuffins commercial, no.
Up and I don't want to do something, I don't need someone to tell me to do it because I'll do it anyway. I mean, who wants to run a marathon? Nobody. Who wants to do that? You just do it, don't you? Because, you know, it's the thing you're going to have to do, and you have to blood, sweat, tears, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I was...
There are a lot of people who enjoy running marathons because it's a challenge for them. It's why people do it.
Grown up in a very disciplined household, and I think it's absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. And, yeah, that's it. I had a very, very good childhood. When I look at some of the stuff on Twitter about parenting and stuff, like in my household, I fucked up, I got hit, for example.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this explains a lot. Oh, no.
And I think that's a fantastic... I can't wait to kick my kid's ass when he gets fresh. I can't wait. For example.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a fantastic... I can't wait to kick my kid's ass when he gets fresh. I can't wait. But...
MMA fighter, kickboxer, Andrew Tate, telling us how excited he is to beat his child. Beautiful.
Because that's the real world. The real world's going to hit you hard if you make mistakes. And you need to learn that there's boundaries you shouldn't cross. And you need to learn to, you know, cause and effect. I loved my upbringing from start to finish.
Yeah, and it seems like it served you well.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've done okay. You
yeah.
know? I mean, I have basically everything I ever wanted. So, I mean, I can't complain. You know, it's done me pretty good. It's done me pretty good.
What motivates you?
I think that every man is born, especially men, because I can't talk for women because I'm not a female. So I can't talk for women. But I think every man is born with the motivation to, in one form or another, conquer the world. And I think that's why it doesn't matter if you do it in a corporate sense. It doesn't matter if you do it in a physical sense. I've done it in every sense. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is the same drive. The reason the Romans melted rocks, made swords, walked in random directions and killed anyone they could find. I mean, they didn't have Google Maps. They didn't email those guys to find out they're bad guys. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, well, let me just go over here and take this from them. Because there's something warrior, there's an instinct inside of men that make you want to conquer.
Which is something that luckily most people have realized is bad. It's bad. The Romans also crucified people. The Romans enslaved people. I wouldn't be using the Romans as your bar for the kind of person you want to be. You'll end up a very, very bad person.
This is the reason why more CEOs are men. They go, it's the gender pay gap. No, a man will sacrifice his life for his work in a way that most females won't.
Oh.
Because they see it as a form of conquest. It's the reason I enjoy to fight. It's the reason that some men like having so many women. It's the world, it's conquering. And I think that happiness for a man in one form or another is derived from conquest. I think that's what it is. And that's what motivates me. No matter, there's always something new to conquer, so it gets me up every day. And especially in the fields I take most interest in, there's no upper limit. There's never too much money. You can never be too strong. You can never be too fit. And there's always some new girl. So there's always something to do. This is how it is.
Is there a soft side to you?
Absolutely.
Tell me about your soft side.
Well, you have to clarify soft side in which way.
Well,
I'm a human.
Yeah, you're a human, and I guess that's what I'm curious about, because you present, and it's authentic. I can feel it, as powerful, strong, ambitious, successful, and it's real.
I want to know more about this fucking psychologist that Tate had come on and tell him how awesome he is. Like, who is this guy that he paid?
What you're doing in the world, you're trying to teach other men to do the same.
David Sutcliffe. Let's look him up. I'm assuming he's a doctor, has a doctorate. No, maybe not. Did he say psychiatrist? Whoopsie. There's an actor with the exact same name, which is making it a pain in the ass to fucking find this guy. CSI Enhance.
And it feels to me authentic, like it's comes from a real place. So that's what I get off you, and it's very, very compelling. I don't take any shit attitude. I'm going to say
that's not the same guy, is it? They look very similar. They just have like generic white guy things going on. Yes? No? That is the guy? Are you sure? Because this is an actor. But they said he's a psychiatrist or something. I can't tell.
I want, and in the culture right now, that's a very attractive thing. But tell me about the other side of you. Is there a sensitive side? Is there an emotional side?
I think that the whole side you just described is driven by a soft side. Like, why would I give a shit about, being strong or having to fight to protect? The reason I care about being strong is so I can not only protect myself, but protect people I care about. The reason I want to be rich is not only so I can buy myself stuff, so I can provide for my family. Yeah. But every single position of strength comes with.
Let me see if this is him. David Sutcliffe. I felt completely broken down and rebuilt in such a profound, joyous way. Are you ready to evolve? We are in the midst of a massive global change, technological, political, economic, social, psychological, and spiritual. Old systems are becoming obsolete as new paradigms emerge, and with it, an evolution of our consciousness. We are expanding our sense of who we are, where we're going, and what is possible. Reality is being redefined. I want to awaken you to a new way of seeing yourself in the world and give you the skills to navigate it. I've dedicated my life to exploring unconscious through my training in somatic psychotherapy, meditation, yoga, hypnosis. Oh. Is he a psychologist, air quotes, and not a psychologist? Like, is he just calling himself a psychologist? Yeah, it is the same guy. Some of you may know me as the actor from the TV shows like The Gilmore Girls and Private Practice. For 20 years, I had the good fortune to work with some of the most talented people in Hollywood. It was a dream come true. But at the height of my success in 2006, I had a subtle but lingering feeling of dissatisfaction. It was hard to reconcile because on the surface I had it all. A TV series, 2 movies coming out, a beautiful home, and an amazing girlfriend. What did I possibly have to be unhappy about? Then my girlfriend dumped me and my TV series was canceled. I'd faced heartbreak and disappointment before, but this time it floored me. All my doubts and fears came rising to the surface. I couldn't make sense of it, couldn't find my way out. I spiraled into depression, questioning everything about my life. A friend suggested I attend a radical aliveness workshop at Esalen Institute, the famous retreat center in Big Sur, California. I'd done my share of therapy, but nothing could have prepared me for the experience I was about to have. For 6 days with a group of 20 people, I dove headfirst into my intense emotions, uncovering a world of feelings buried inside since I was a boy. I felt how painful was the impact of my parents' divorce when I was 6, and the fear and anxiety it left me with. I saw how I disowned these feelings, putting on a front for the world to see, and how this self-denial was manifesting in resentment, isolation, and self-loathing. And I saw how these unresolved emotions were influencing the choices I was making in my career and relationships. I was acting out a script written in my childhood, replaying an old story, blah, 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 blah. Okay, do you actually have a degree or no? After attending radical aliveness workshops as often as I could, ultimately graduating from the 4-year certification program for practitioners, studied meditation, yoga, breathwork, hypnosis, dreams, and shamanism. So he's definitely a, quote, therapist, and not a therapist or a psychologist. He's not a real one.
For another, conquer the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it doesn't.
You did something on here too. Okay, I'll put this guy in. I don't even know. Let's say conspiracy. We'll put him in conspiracy for now. So he doesn't even have a real degree. He has a certification from a bullshit woo-woo program, which he's probably trying to promote because he's like a self-help guru now. And Andrew Tate already has an audience of vulnerable, young, mostly men who give him money to listen to his bullshit. So they're doing like a cross-promotional thing so they can get some of Andrew Tate's marks to go and give money to the other guy and the other guys to come and give money to Tate. Brilliant.
A derivative of softness underneath it. There's some emotion involved in it.
How do I think it would go if Tate talked to an actual therapist and not a washed-up actor? I think it would go pretty badly for him, and I think an actual therapist would see through his fake persona immediately. Because Tate's got, like, the thinnest veneer of just, like, I'm confident, I'm awesome, I'm happy with my life, and it's, like, transparent. You can see right through it, and underneath is a person who hates themselves and their life and feels like they haven't done anything worthwhile, so they fill that void with, like, money and drugs and escorts.
If I was really a person who had no soft side whatsoever and I didn't give a fuck, I don't think I'd be the way I am. I think I'd be complete opposite. I think there are people like that who are so inherently selfish, but those people are not successful people. Those are people who sit on the couch all day, watch TV, smoke weed, and do nothing, or go and rob grandmas. Like, I don't consider myself an emotionally hard person. I get called a sociopath all the time and a psychopath all the time. I get called that, but I don't think people understand that there is a version of the world where you can feel things and really not give a fuck how you feel.
So you're saying that you're functionally a psychopath, just not clinically. Great.
Like if I feel sad, it does not change how I act, and it does not change the things I do.
Oh no.
If I don't feel like going to the gym, I go to the gym. If I don't feel like working, I will still work. I lived in a world for 15 years where I didn't feel like fighting because my nose was broken, but I had to fight anyway. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people come up to me and they say, oh, but I feel this way. I don't put a huge amount of importance on emotions. It's not that I don't feel them. It's that I don't think they have much to do with anything at all.
Who's that in the background? One of his hangers-on. Tate has a bunch of people who kind of live in his house on and off. Friends that are orbiters that basically hang out with him because he has money. Women that he dates on and off who live in his house.
If I wake up in a happy mood and I have a business to run and females to cater for and things to do, if I wake up in a sad mood, I have the same shit to do. I'm going to get it done. So where's the importance of it? It's in my mind, that's how I view it. Like, how does that affect what I'm going to do? Well, nothing. It doesn't. It's not going to affect how I live my life. So why sit around and think about it? This modern obsession with happiness is the number one problem with the world. Because I really don't believe humans were ever evolved to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. That's accidentally very illuminating. Tate has decided it's not his fault that he's unhappy. It's not because he's done nothing but chase wealth and not give a shit about how he treats other people and formed real bonds with others. So it must just be that no one's supposed to be happy. It's not that he's not happy because his life is terrible and he hates himself.
Were we? Where? Tell me. You're the expert, bro. Where did it come? Where did it come in our?
He's not an expert. He went and hung out with a bunch of hippies and got a certificate that is not accredited in any way. His website says he studied shamanism. Shamanism isn't real.
Timeline that we were supposed to be happy all the time.
No, I agree with you. I don't think happiness is the goal. I think fulfillment is. And I think following your purpose and all the way through is what's going to give you fulfillment. I think that's the highest thing in life. I don't put too much stock in happiness. Contentment, maybe.
You can look around and be like, look, I have a good life. And you're right. You can be very satisfied with what you have. But to believe that as an adult, as a full-grown man, you're going to feel constant happiness like you're a 3-year-old child is asinine. And all these people who are constantly complaining.
Has Tate not been happy since he was 3?
About how they feel probably don't have a spectrum of emotions much different to mine. The difference is I don't sit around and cry about it because I don't live that kind of life. I don't have that kind of conditioning in my mind. I don't give a shit how I.
Someone get Tate a copy of Pixar's Inside Out. Stat.
feel. I have things to do.
But it's also the way you were raised. And maybe if you were raised in a different way, you might be different and you might have a different relationship to your emotions. Is that
if I was raised as a pussy, I'm sure I would be a pussy. but I never was. And that's what most of these men are. I'm being honest. When people come to me, I feel this way, you're a pussy. Oh, but I feel, who gives a fuck how you feel? I'm about to break into your house, strangle your wife to death. Who gives a fuck how you feel? Like,
Tate's doing great.
Your emotion has nothing to do with the harsh reality of this world. You're either successful or you're not. Life is binary. You either win or you lose. You survive or you don't. These people are so obsessed with themselves and how they feel. This is my whole problem with the depression thing. On my old account, a long time ago, when I was verified, before I got banned, I set the world nuts when I said depression wasn't real. And the world went crazy. Every A-list celebrity, you can still Google right now, depression isn't real, and all the tweets come up. And my point was completely misunderstood. And my point was very simple. Feeling depressed is real. That is a real thing. And I truly believe that the reason you feel depressed is so that you are inspired into action. You're unhappy with your surroundings and you're inspired. This is the reason why you don't want to go to jail. Both of us don't want to go to jail because we'll both be depressed.
Okay, I think you're confusing sadness and discontentment with clinical depression, which are different things. Certainly people get unhappy sometimes when it isn't clinical depression and it's genuinely just a drive to do something else. That's a separate thing. That's being discontent. That's being sad. That's being unfulfilled or whatever. That's a different thing than clinical depression, which is a medical mental condition.
Because we don't like our situation. It's a natural human instinct to make you work hard and try harder to build a life. So when people come to me and go, oh, I can't, I'm fat and I don't know what to do because I'm depressed. I say, no, you're depressed because you're fat. You go the other way around. So that's the first thing. Feeling depressed is real. But this idea that you can walk through life and everything's fine and you can catch depression from the sky like a disease and it strikes your brain and there's nothing you can do about it. And no matter how hard you try, you are depressed no matter what.
Imagine if you made this argument about diabetes. Oh, what? One day you're just walking down the street and you catch type 1 diabetes? You pussy? Just tell your pancreas to work, you bitch. Like, that's not how this works. What is his accent? He lived both in the United States and the UK, so it's like a weird mix of the two.
This is garbage. This is complete garbage that's been propagated by the weak-minded. And the proof of this is that in countries with a harder life, where people are too busy struggling to survive, there's less depression.
There's less documented cases of depression, because if we're talking about like a developing country, people can't get basic, like, physical, bodily medical care, much less effective mental health care that will detect and treat clinical depression. This is the Trump, we have more cases because we do more tests thing all over again.
It's only in these countries that have nothing else to fucking worry about. If it was true the way they teach it, it'd be universal across the human condition. It isn't. So basically, your life's so good, the only thing you have to do is sit around and worry about why you're not happy enough. It's bullshit. The whole field, the whole industry, the whole way we view depression, the way we view happiness, the way we view sadness is all garbage from head to toe. I think it's all bullshit. We can throw the whole thing out the window. And I start again when people come to me and say about happiness, and I say, who the fuck said you should be happy in the first place? Who even said you should be? I don't care if you're sad. I never told you should be happy. How many push-ups can you do?
Yeah, that's... Remember, he's supposed to be talking to a psychologist.
Not enough. Get to fucking work. So this is my whole view on the whole field.
Is there anything that you struggle with?
No.
Really?
Doubt?
Any doubt, fear?
I'm a realist. So like before I would fight, I would be very nervous and I would hate the idea of losing because I have an ego. But it's also my ego that puts me in there in the first place. Uh-huh. Because you're not going to risk your life for a few $1,000s if you haven't got a fucking ego. That's why fighters have egos. Yeah. Because we all believe we're Superman. But then the idea of losing, this is why fighters end up depressed and suicidal and doing drugs and stuff, because if you lose, it's hard to tolerate when your whole personality is based on being hard to kill and that gets shattered. It's like losing a loved one. It hurts. So yeah, I feel fear, I feel nerves, all those things, but I'll do things anyway. Do I struggle with anything in general in life? No, because
being wealthy probably helps.
Because I'm an intelligent person who's motivated, and
yeah, I know he's an actor, the therapist, but the therapist, air quotes. He's not a real therapist, but he runs his own scam now where he pretends to be a therapist. He's not accredited.
Listen, if you're gonna try hard at something, and I mean genuinely try, 99% of people will get adept at X thing. It doesn't matter what it is. If I decided I wanted to be good at piano and I gave it everything I got, I'd be able to play piano. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like there's people with one hand who can play piano.
Okay, Tate, yes, motivation is a huge part of success. Most people, if they put their mind to it and genuinely sat down and for an hour or two a day committed themselves to learning an instrument or doing some task, something that can be learned, which is most things, yes, I'm sure they could do that. But honestly, there's not really a question of that. Most people could learn to play the piano if they wanted to and put enough time into it. The motivation factor, that getting yourself to take a certain action and stick with it is like 90% of the battle for most of these things. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. That's just kind of how people work.
It's just how much effort you're going to put in. I don't struggle at anything because if I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I've never struggled with motivation. So if you don't struggle with motivation, then you're never going to struggle with anything in life.
Okay, I'm happy that you don't struggle with motivation, Tate. You're not the norm, let's say. And based on how you talk about your life and how you talk about feeling like happiness isn't something to strive for ever, I get a feeling that it's not making you happy. So I don't understand why you think this is an appropriate way to go about living your life when you appear to be miserable.
I mean, I'm naturally adept at some things, and there's some things I'm not as naturally adept at. But if you're prepared to work, you're prepared to work. So no, I don't struggle with anything. Life is not a struggle to me. I do not view life as difficult in any way. I think life is extremely easy.
What about fear?
Fear of what?
Do you have fear?
I don't like heights. I'm scared of heights. Does that count?
Oh my god. Do you guys remember that time Tate was gonna skydive? And then he was like, I'm not gonna skydive. Skydiving is for nerds. And he even said, like, this isn't because I'm afraid of heights. I'm no pussy. He just admitted he's afraid of heights. He just didn't want to jump out of the plane. Okay, that's fine. Hypocritical, though, at the time, because you were saying adamantly that's not the reason, but cool.
That counts.
Well, yeah, but I will still do things involving heights.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm scared, but I'll still do it. Like I'll measure the risk. Like, will I walk on the edge of a cliff? No. But if I'm on a bridge and there's a barrier and I know I'm probably not going to fall, even if I feel vertigo and I'm scared, I'll still do it.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I mean, I feel like these questions, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the kind of questions that like psychiatrists throw at people and they come at you with some bullshit. I'm scared of failing or being unhappy. I don't know what garbage people say. I'm scared of what? I don't know what. I'm scared of a tiger. If he breaks in my house, I'll be a bit afraid, like maybe, but I'll have to fight back. What? I have to try and fuck him up. I don't know what it is. Scared of what?
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. What do you make of it when you've gone to psychoanalysis before? You said people called you a sociopath, a psychopath.
Yeah. So my problem with the whole field, so I don't believe in any of this stuff.
Wait, is Tate admitting that he did go to a therapist who literally called him a sociopath? That tracks.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't believe in it is very simple, is that it's not an exact science. So 2 + 2 is always 4.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, in very extreme versions of math, it's not, but it's a simple version of saying 2 + 2 is 4. Whereas with this kind of stuff, you can have a man who doesn't drink because his dad's an alcoholic, and you can have a man who's an alcoholic because his dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You can have people.
Yeah? People behave and respond to stimuli differently and cope in different ways?
Who turned out like me because their father was strict. And you can have people who completely go off the rails because their father was strict.
Yeah.
So,
can you kick this man? What man?
I mean, I've gone through these kind of things before, and I said this, and their answer was,
oh, you mean
that's
Tate.
true, but
no.
there's general rules.
You don't threaten people even jokingly. You can't do that.
Within people, there's patterns we can identify.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they said. I don't know if that's the correct answer. Maybe you have a different answer. Is that the truth?
I think all children in some way adapt to their childhood. They make themselves into something to please their parents.
Again,
Okay.
this guy, despite calling himself and having Tate call him a psychologist, is not a psychologist. He is a washed-up actor who went to a retreat and got a certificate in fucking shamanism, and he's pretending that he has some sort of credentials.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would actually agree with that. That's true.
Yeah, so in the process of making yourself something to please your parents, maybe there's a part of you that you denied, right? That you cut off from, and it happened at such an early age, you're not even aware of it.
Okay, but what if the part of me I denied was a part of me I didn't need? What if the part of me I denied was lazy? What if the part of me I denied was the pussy? What if he's been gone from a long time and I've just been formed deliberately into this brilliance? Then is there anything negative about that?
Not necessarily, but there is a part of you. Maybe there's good things in there that were denied that would be useful to you.
Like what?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know for me, I'll tell you what happened for me. When I went all the way into my emotions, the work that I do is very psychologically intense. It's not talk therapy. It's very physical. So you hit things, you punch, you kick. And if you have rage and you go all the way into the rage, right, which I did.
Let's look at his website again. Workshops. I serve as a guide for people to discover and connect to their deepest gifts. I help uncover the false assumptions and limiting beliefs that keep us from understanding and claiming our full power. I work to confront and integrate the shadow, the hidden part of us that wants to withdraw from life, stay separate, judge, hate, with the awareness that these self-destructive impulses are protecting our deepest vulnerability. I work with the technique of core energetics, a somatic psychotherapy to help release blocked emotional energy. Core energetics. Let's look this up. The Institute of Core Energetics. The Institute of Core Energetics is committed to being a force for the healing of humanity, transforming negativity and fear into love. We value and work diligently to create a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community where we all feel seen. All right, what do you tell me about it, though? It's not gonna... There we go. The Institute of Core Energetics provides exceptional training required to become a certified core energetics practitioner and facilitates personal transformation that promotes the expansion and evolution of human consciousness. Oh, it's woo-woo bullshit. Programs. 4-year practitioner certification program. I think this is what the fake psychologist did. The 4-year practitioner program is a comprehensive training experience leading to certification as a core energetics practitioner. Core energetics practitioner is not a accredited thing. It is not a real thing outside of these people and their beliefs. Highly experimental. That's what you say when your technique is not considered okay by actual professionals. Highly experimental. This program is designed for students to develop 3 distinct yet overlapping areas of competence. Theoretical competence. The curriculum provides the main theoretical and philosophical constructs that underlie, support, and define the core energetics evolutionary model. Personal and spiritual development. The program provides a model for personal evolution, energetic integration, and spiritual growth. Program provides training needed for graduates to responsibly practice core energetics and be able to engage clients at every level of being, body, emotional, minds, and spirit. Again, it's a bunch of woo-woo bullshit. Does it have a Wikipedia page? Psychology wiki. System of body-oriented psychotherapy, which labels itself as a bridge between psychology and spirituality. It focuses on a holistic process involving an extended concept of consciousness encompassing body, emotion, mind, spirit, blah, 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 blah. Unlike conventional psychiatric or medical therapies, core energetics views the spiritual dimension of life as an essential component in the process of recovery and growth. Core Engineers founder said that Core Engineers is an education in inner reality. Ooh. The section for the scientific assessment of the approach is literally empty. There's like a header for it, and then there's nothing. Oh no.
It revealed
They could have just said it doesn't reel. Yeah.
to me all of these pent-up emotions that I had, rage towards my mother, disappointment around my father. And I realized for me, these unconscious emotions were running my life. It's what was motivating me. And once I released them, I came into contact with a kind of a deeper self, a truer self, and I felt more free. That's just for me. So, but that's the information that I got from my personal experience.
Don't you miss your anger?
But I don't give up my anger. It's always there. It's always available to me. right?
Because
It's
anger is a
just- I'm not-
fantastic
but
motivator.
It is a fantastic motivator. And so much of what I got out of my life was motivated by trying to make my mother happier, trying to win the love of my father. And I got a lot from it.
Querulous Artisan says, gotta take some pictures of chunky 3D old kittens. Would you like me to send you the pics? Yes, please.
But then I
I'm gonna skip around, and then we're probably gonna be
realized,
done.
why am I doing
It's reality, and I don't want to die, so I want a male pilot. That's how it is. That's just sorry. And I've had people come at me and go crazy at me for that question. You're a sexist. You're maybe the woman's better. Blah blah. I'm saying, well, look. In my view of things, if I had to choose, and I think if everyone's honest with themselves, they choose a man.
Oh no, him being sexist.
You care about people. Like you care. You do want to inspire people for your own, not just for your own ego, not just from your own ego.
Alive, he'd slap me in the mouth for fucking up my income for the whole family, and fucking up my chance of building a legacy for this family, and making sure mom never has to work again to go to a fucking funeral. They're geniuses. So it depends.
Okay, that's enough of Tate's ego stroking. So that guy's, in my opinion, a hack. Let's put it that way. That's enough of Tate.